it's very difficult to compare the private market for renewable electricity with the business market of renewable electricity. So as an organization that wants to take renewable electricity into account, at least in the European market, you need so-called power purchase agreement, a PPA, with guarantee of origin. And this gives you the guarantee that this is renewable energy and it has been sourced out of one of these, you could call it the Eco Plus, so additionally established renewable energy production, new windcraft, new wind energy, new solar energy, new whatever. And there's one important thing. As we want all our energy system to switch to renewable, and we call the current so-called location-based grid mix that also has renewable in it. And so you have a perspective of Germany in the year of 2025 had a certain share of renewable that you can calculate, you can look back and say, okay, this was our share. And a part of this has been used within green power purchase agreements. So companies have paid to secure exactly that green power for their production in order to be able to have it accounted for in their greenhouse gas accounting. And that relates to products, and it can relate also to the corporate carbon footprint. But already now you see there's a problem, because this location-based includes all the renewable that has been sold through PPAs. So there's another data set that's called the residual mix. Residual sounds a bit odd, but residual means all what remains after subtracting those that have been sold through power purchase agreements with guarantee of origin. And then this residual one, you need to calculate with that if you have not purchased something. It's not always the case that it is mandatory to calculate with that. So we have in systems until now quite a lot of double counting of the good stuff, or you could also call it double crediting. And one of the countries which is really fighting for everyone should calculate with location-based is, for example, in the European context, it's Norway. I'm not calling it the European Commission context, but in the electricity market, Norway belongs to the European market because we are also connected through a cable that we can really exchange power. And the electricity production in Norway is super renewable. It's really, there's a lot of water and so on, but they have sold that. I don't know exactly the percentage, but to a very high percentage. So if Norway has sold their green electricity, their residual grid mix, because they're still using their country specific, is becoming very, very, very black, very coal-based, because it's connected. And so if you have a very green grid and you're selling 90% of that, everyone else is basically exporting to you the coal-based, the gas-based, the fossil-based electricity, and you have to account for it. And so a reasoning in the past to put electricity or energy intensive production like aluminium production. There is production in Norway, and with location-based calculation, this aluminium is greener than somewhere else in Europe if you take location-based. But if somewhere in Europe with a less good grid mix, you have aluminium production and you have purchase power agreements, it can be as green, but it's no longer comparable with the Norwegian one because they are supposed to calculate then with their residual grid mix or also buy via PPA. And this is a big fight because you see huge interests behind that. But we need to have it consistent. If not, it's not comparable. And we need to have incentives that are getting industry to invest into greening or turning our grid mix into a fully renewable one. And this is a challenge at the moment.